Part 1, The Glory of Rome. Rome's origins are shrouded in legend. Founded in 753 BCE by Romulus, it began as a small city-state on the Tiber River. But through conquest, innovation, and ambition, it grew into a republic, and then, into an empire. By the 2nd century CE, under Emperor Trajan, Rome reached its greatest territorial extent, a realm of over 5 million square kilometers and 60 million people. Roads, aqueducts, and law bound its provinces together. Latin and Greek were spoken across continents, but behind the facade of marble and military discipline, deep cracks had already begun to form. Part 2, Political Corruption and Instability. Narration. The Roman political system, once the pride of the Republic, became bloated with greed and dysfunction. After Emperor Commodus was assassinated in 192 CE, Rome entered a century of chaos. This period, known as the crisis of the 3rd century, saw over 20 emperors in just 50 years, most dying violent deaths. Power was no longer passed through lineage or merit, but often bought by the highest bidder or seized by military force. The Roman Senate, once a powerful institution, was reduced to a ceremonial body. Civil wars drained the treasury, destroyed infrastructure, and weakened the empire's ability to respond to external threats. Part 3, Economic Troubles and Social Decay. Rome's economy, once fueled by conquest and slave labor, began to collapse. As expansion ceased, the empire's income dwindled. Heavy taxation crushed the middle and lower classes, while the elite hoarded wealth. Inflation spiraled out of control. A coin that once had value was now mostly worthless metal. Trade declined. Local economies faltered. Landowners fled cities to create self-sufficient estates, early signs of the feudal system that would dominate medieval Europe. The urban population suffered. Plague struck, most notably the plague of Cyprian and the Antonine Plague, killing millions, and further destabilizing the empire. Part 4, The Barbarian Invasions. Narration. While Rome was tearing itself apart from within, pressure mounted on its borders. The term barbarian was used by Romans to describe anyone outside their civilization. But these so-called barbarians, Goths, Vandals, Huns, and others, were not disorganized savages. They were complex societies, often seeking refuge, trade, or land. In the 4th century, the Huns invaded Europe from the east, pushing Germanic tribes like the Visigoths and Ostrogoths westward, right into Roman territory. In 410 CE, under King Alaric, the Visigoths sacked Rome. It was the first time the Eternal City had fallen to an enemy in 800 years. The shock reverberated across the empire. Rome was no longer invincible. Part 5, Division of the Empire. In 285 CE, Emperor Diocletian, realizing the empire was too vast to govern, divided it into eastern and western halves. He ruled the east, while a co-emperor ruled the west. This temporary solution would eventually become permanent. The Eastern Roman Empire, based in Constantinople, grew wealthier and more stable. The Western Roman Empire, based in Rome and later Ravenna, grew weaker and more fragmented. Over time, the East saw itself as distinct, leaving the West to face growing threats alone. Part 6, The Rise of Christianity. In the early days, Christianity was a persecuted minority religion. But in 313 CE, Emperor Constantine issued the Edict of Milan, legalizing it. By the end of the 4th century, it became the state religion. While Christianity unified people spiritually, it also shifted loyalty away from the emperor and state toward the church. Wealth and resources were redirected to build cathedrals and support clergy. Pagan temples were shut down. Ancient Roman tradition was abandoned. Some historians argue that the rise of Christianity played a subtle yet significant role in weakening Rome's identity and cohesion. Part 7, The Final Blow. Narration. The Western Roman Empire limped into the 5th century, held together by fragile alliances and hollow authority. Then came the Vandals. In 455 CE, they sacked Rome again, looting and desecrating the city in what became a symbol of unstoppable decline. Finally, in 476 CE, the last Roman emperor of the West, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by the Germanic warlord Odoacer. The Roman Senate sent the imperial regalia to Constantinople, signaling the end. The Western Roman Empire was no more. Part 8, Legacy and Reflection. Narration. the Eastern Roman Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, would survive for nearly 1,000 more years. But the West entered what historians call the Dark Ages, a period of fragmentation, war, and cultural decline. Yet Rome never truly disappeared. Its law, architecture, language, and ideals live on. In our cities, in our governments, in the very concept of an empire, it echoes. Rome's fall wasn't one event, but a long unraveling. A slow-motion catastrophe brought on by corruption, invasion, disease, and apathy. Even the greatest powers can crumble. From within, closing scene, slow pan over Roman ruins at sunset. This was the fall of Rome. Not with a single crash, but with a fading echo, a warning from history. That even the mightiest empires are not eternal. For more, subscribe, like, and share History Pulse.